Happy Mindful Monday, everyone. We're back again this Monday talking about mental health, self-awareness, self-care, and understanding yourself so that you can have the best life that you could possibly have. And it does not need to just be a dream or a hope, but actually something that you can live out. So we're here this morning, ready to encourage you as you start a new week. And we reflect on how we talked about coming out and asking for help the last week, and just reaching out for help, being self-aware, recognizing that you need help when you do, and realizing that there's no shame in asking for help, that we all need a helping hand once in a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we were celebrating that the last week, and I was encouraging those of you who are in that place right now to reach out for help, whether it's with me or someone else that you trust, or a different therapist, maybe around where you live. But to just reach out and get the help that you need. So piggybacking on that, today I wanted to talk about self-awareness and how important it is to your growth, how important it is to your happiness. We've all watched these movies and videos and things like that where we're familiar with AA groups and things like that. And they start off the video with, hi, my name is Mark or Sally, and I am an alcoholic. So while there are different schools of thoughts on how the labeling thing works, and whether or not we want to say I struggle with alcohol or I am an alcoholic or an addict, that's besides the point. The point is that they are taking a step to acknowledge that they have a problem. And once they acknowledge that they have a problem, then they can move towards growth and healing and change in their lives. And so it is the same for us. In every area of our lives, all of us struggle with something different. And until we come to a place where we recognize a dysfunction or a faulty way of thinking, a negative thought pattern, until we recognize that, it's going to be really hard for us to move towards seeking help, move towards wanting to change even. And in some cases, it might be affecting other people. Our refusal to be self-aware is hurting those around us. Now, I'm not saying this because I want any of you to feel bad about yourselves. I think that there are times where we can feel negatively as we reflect, because we may feel like, well, I reflect way too much. I'm down on myself. I can never do the right thing. What's the point, and that sort of thing. So that's all hopeless talk, really, and it's really self-defeating, because it doesn't encourage change. The guilt just pretty much turns towards you and goes nowhere from there, and it keeps us from being accountable. It keeps us from pressing forward. It keeps us from being resilient and getting back up. And it keeps us from being hopeful that things can change. So that's certainly not the direction that I'm heading towards here. But what I'm saying is that it's okay to look at those uncomfortable feelings, those negative feelings, and stop and understand why you're feeling them, and take that moment in the discomfort to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What needs are not being met here? How am I impacting my relationships? It's okay to take an inventory, like we talked about a couple of weeks before. How are my relationships doing? And so from there, recognize where change is necessary, and come to that first step of self-awareness, that yes, I see that I can change some things in this particular area, or I need to change things in this particular area to see some growth. And I would love to see some growth in this area, and begin to take the first steps to walk towards that change and the happiness that you deserve. That's me signing out. Have a great week. I hope it's warm and we don't have any more snow. For those who do live locally, it has been really brutal. So keep smiling and do your best, live your best life, and I'll see you next Monday.